So I would like to welcome today Alan Rajah. Alan is a partner at Lawrence Grant Chartered Accountants. It's a firm that specialises in the healthcare sector. So Alan, welcome, and I'm simply going to hand straight over to you just to tell us a little bit about yourself and what we're focusing on today.
Thank you, Alka. I'm delighted to be invited to present this webinar on how to access government relief for the GP profession. As a short introduction, Lawrence Grant has been supporting the healthcare industry for the last 20 years. We've been able to help our clients to minimize their taxes and also improve their systems and processes. Let me just share my screen for my slides. So what we're going to discuss today is how to access government relief for the GP profession. And so during this webinar, we'll cover the following topics. Some of the current financial issues GPs, and in particular, portfolio locum GPs are facing. The furlough scheme, bounce back loans, the coronavirus business interruption loan scheme, and relief for limited companies.
Fantastic. So I think that's quite a lot of areas to cover. So we know, don't we, that portfolio GPs are certainly facing some pretty unexpected financial pressures at the moment. I think many are finding that locum work isn't as readily available as previously, and because lots of portfolio GPs work in many different ways, you'll know sort of salaried roles, some with their own limited companies. I guess the impact of changes in the opportunities for sort of regular, steady work is kind of felt in many different ways for different GPs. I'd just be interested, Alan, to find out what sort of issues GPs have been coming to you with at present.
Well, some of the main issues we're facing are, as you know, there's less regular work opportunities for locums, either because the footfall and practice has changed, is either due to more digital work, or because practice themselves are limiting their financial outlay due to uncertainty. Furthermore, because most locums are not contracted, their regular income is not really guaranteed, and the opportunities for work, and that might be predictable before, but no longer so in the current situation. The financial effect of this depends on how GPs are set up, as they could be salaried, self-employed, or trading by a limited company.
Okay, so should we maybe start with looking at salaried employment contracts? I know sort of furlough comes up quite a lot, but have you actually seen salaried GPs being furloughed? How does the furlough scheme apply to GPs?
Yes, so the furlough scheme is not being widely used by GPs, as most GPs are salaried or continuing to work. However, just to provide some information on the furlough scheme for any GP partners or practice owners who may be listening and who have considered furlough for their staff. The furlough scheme was introduced to help employers whose operations have been severely impacted by COVID-19 to retain their employees and protect the UK economy. So how it works, the employers can claim a grant equal to 80% of gross salary up to a maximum of £2,500 per employee. They can also claim the associated employer's NIC and the employer's pension contributions. The scheme was initially in place until 30th June and has now been extended to the end of October.
All right, great. So that's a bit of useful background for the furlough scheme. And I guess, as you were saying, some GPs who have got independent practices are also perhaps employing members of family or other members of staff, so this scheme may well apply to them, as you say. So what about portfolio GPs who are self-employed then, Alan? What are options for self-employed locum GPs?
So for self-employed locum GPs, there's additional funding that's been provided to support the self-employed. Grants will be paid based on 80% of average profits over the last 3 years. The maximum payment that the government is giving is £7,500 for the months of March to May. The scheme will apply to any business that has trading profits of up to £50,000. So the £50,000 trading profits is after capital allowances claims. You may not be eligible for this grant if you have other income in total takes you over the £50,000 limit. the taxable profit must be equal to or greater than the non-trading income. For instance, if you have other investment income, such as rental income, this is more than your trading income, you will not qualify for the relief. You also need to show that the business has suffered financially due to coronavirus. The grants will be backdated to March and paid in June. HMRC also contacted taxpayers directly for them to check if they're eligible. Funds will be remitted directly into the taxpayer's bank account. You'll need to make a claim directly and not through your accountant. The grant is taxable, so you'll need to declare this on your 2021 tax return if you operate on a cash basis. If you declare income on an accruals basis, then part of the income will need to be declared in your 2019-2020 tax return. You can check if you're eligible via HMRC website, which is listed on the slides. It will require your NI number as well as a UTR number.
Great, I think that's really useful. Actually, just that kind of link that you've shared is a great place just to double check eligibility, isn't it? So thanks for that.
Next support that I have is the bounce back loans that have been introduced for funding between £2,000 and £50,000. The good thing about this loan is that any business can apply for it. The loans was based on 25% of your turnover. You'll need to contact your bank and apply via the bank website. There are minimum compliance checks, and some of our clients have secured loans within a week. Okay,
so that sounds pretty straightforward. Really, just go to your own bank's website and follow whatever's there on screen, and it looks as though there's quite a quick turnaround for that as well. So, so what about business owners who set up their own limited companies then, Alan?
So for the larger businesses, there's the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme that has been introduced for medium-sized businesses. So 80% of the value of the loans are backed by the government. The government will cover interest and fees for the first 12 months. And they currently enhance compliance checks for each application.
And what it is as easy then to apply as for the bounce back loans? Is it as quick a turnover? What's your experience been of people who've been applying for this scheme?
Well, compared to bounce back loans, the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme is much more rigid. It's been over 8 weeks since the government introduced this loan, and some of our clients are still waiting for the application to be processed. Although 80% of the loan is backed by the government, banks are having to undertake further due diligence checks on the clients before releasing the funds. So it's much more onerous on clients to apply for this loan. The funding is provided for up to £5 million for businesses with a turnover up to £45 million. The good thing about this is there's no personal guarantees for loans less than £250,000. There's also some relief for those who are trading via a company. The company has agreed to extend the filing of accounts by 3 months. The relief is not automatic, so you'll need to apply to Company House for an extension. Please note that the tax payable on the normal due date as well.
Brilliant. Gosh, that's fantastic, Alan. I think you've managed to cover quite a lot of headlines for us, taking into account sort of some of the different ways our own sort of personal setup, accounting setup is, or our personal businesses are set up. So thank you for at least sort of getting us off the ground. There's some great sort of links there. But if anyone listening does want a bit more detail or some personal advice, anywhere that they can come and find you, maybe just to ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah, of course, Alka. So they can come to our website, www.lawrencegrant.co.uk, and I'm more than happy to take any emails. You can email me at alan@lawrencegrant.co.uk.
Fantastic. That's super helpful. I think you certainly have managed to cover sort of quite a lot of ground and given us some really useful headliners today. So we talked about furlough scheme, bounce back loans, the coronavirus business interruption loan scheme, and relief for limited companies. So there is quite a lot available for us out there to access for anyone who's starting to feel some of that financial pressure. So thank you so much, Alan, for giving us the information today, and keep well.
Thank you, Alka. Keep well, everyone.